Hello and welcome to a new lesson on Chroot jails. In this lesson, we are going to build a real Chroot jail step by step. A Chroot jail limits what a user or process can see on the file system. It is useful for isolating services like web servers or file servers. So if they are compromised, they won't see the whole system. So first, let's create the jail structure. So I will execute sudo mkdir, then -p /jail service 2, for example, then /home /service 2. So here we are creating the main jail folder, along with a home directory for the service 2 user. Now press enter, and let's create some extra folders that the user might need. So I will execute sudo mkdir with -p, then /jail service 2, then between curly braces I will create multiple directories under a service 2 directory. The first directory is bin. I will also create lib64, dev, and etc. Now press enter, and we can validate the creation of those directories using sudo ls /jail service 2, then press enter, and as you can see, all the needed directories has been created inside service 2 directory. So those directories are very important for the chroot jail. The bin directory for commands, lib64 for libraries, dev for device files, and etc for any configuration files they might need. Now let's set the ownership and permissions on service 2 directory. Let's execute sudo chown root then /jail service 2, and here we are setting the jail directory owner to root, which is important so normal users can't escape the jail. Now press enter. Now let's set the permissions using sudo chmod 755 /jail /service 2. This sets permissions to 755 so root can read, write, and execute. Everyone else can read and execute. Now let's create the jailed user account. Let's execute sudo user add to add a new user to the system, and our new user will be service 2. Let's set password on service 2 user using sudo password service 2. Now I will provide a password. Then I will retype the password for confirmation. After that, let's add device files needed by SSH. To do so, I will execute sudo mknode -m 666, then /jail service 2, then null c13. So let's explain this command. The mknode creates a device file -m 666, sets permissions to read and write for everyone. c13 tells it to make a character device with major number 1 and minor number 3. Now press enter. You can repeat this for TTY, 0, and random as needed. Now let's add a basic.profile for the jailed user. So let me paste this command here. Echo export path equals /bin, then pipe that to sudo tjail service 2 /home /service 2 /dot.profile. So this command sets path variable to /bin only, so they only see commands inside the jails /bin. Now press enter. Now let's copy the basic commands we need for this jail service. So I will copy the bash from /bin to jail service 2 /bin. Let's also copy the ls command. And you can add more commands as needed. Now let's find the libraries these commands depend on. So let's execute ldd, then /bin, bash, which will list the shared libraries bash needs to run. Now press enter. Now I will copy all those files to the jail service lib64 directory. So let's sudo cp, then I will copy the first one here, and that will be copied to /jail service2 /lib64. I will do the same with other files. And finally, I will copy the ld-linux x86 file. Now I will do the same for ls. First, I will find the libraries ls command depend on. So let's execute this command, but let's change the bash here to be ls, and I will copy all those files to service2 lib64 directory. So now lib64 under service2 directory has all libraries needed for both the bash and ls commands. Now let's set up SSH to use the jail for the service2 user. To do so, I will open the main configuration file of SSH using sudo vi/etc ssh sshd_config. And let's go to the end of the file. As you see here, there is already a service1 chroot jail has been added to the system. Now let's add another user. So let me here type match user service 2, then chroot directory /jail/service2. Now let's save the file, and to apply our modification, we need to restore the SSH service using sudo systemctl restart sshd. Now let's check the IP address of the system using IPA, and here is IP. Now I will connect from another machine to service2 user to our server machine. And once inside the service2 terminal, let's execute ls/, and as you can see, you will see only the folders in the jail, not the whole system. If you remember, we only added two commands to this chroot jail. The first command is ls and bash. So here, for example, if the service2 user tried to use any other command, it will fail. For example, I will try to execute touch file.txt command to create a file, and as you can see, touch command not found. So this is a perfect demonstration of why chroot is useful. Even if an attacker got inside the jail, they can't see the rest of the system, and they are stuck with just the limited commands we gave them. It's an extra layer of protection that can help keep your system secure. And by that, we get to the end of our lesson. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.